don't finish it here on Mirage, they then still have overpasses to Decider, which is again another map that they look to be favoured on. I'm going to guess this is a false start, considering Anarchez was shot in the back of the head by a teammate.
Certainly feels that way. We will wait to get started with the action. But this is the problem, isn't it? The pressure really starting to mount for the Falcons. A good start on Mirage, I think, would do a lot to alleviate that. They will get their CT side to open things up. Obviously, limited stats to go on, but what we've got, they are a CT-heavy team. Mirage is a map that the CT side can get rolling on. And they'll be hoping to do just that here. Fairly default setup to start things off, however. 3 over towards B, retake place on A. The only issue with it is they haven't actually got a kit. So with the aggression into B, MBK calling it open, they're going to be very swift on this. Hadji takes 3 bullets to the dome, survives on a single point of health, but Mir has read the aggression out on B and has caught the flank beautifully. So as this bomb goes down, it's a 4-on-4 inside of the site, sure, but with Hadji on just a single point of health, this could not be worse. misutaaa tapping away gets 1, and the timings are everything here. Nickelback knows he has to get into an afterplant because Mir is still clearing his way out of this B site.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a longer rotation over, but he has a strong position to try and be a nuisance from, as does Anarchez. This is a bit of an issue, as you can see. Low health on the player and under already. Strong positions really to play this time on the bomb, and they just get mowed down. Even with a team kill in there, I don't know how Forester managed to kill Nickelback. I don't think their crossfires were even in ways that they should have really been able to shoot each other, so that must have been a shot in the back or something from the 2 players peeking in together. Either way, they win out the pistol round, and Entropiq off to a good start here on Mirage, on the T side importantly as well. And it doesn't really seem, I was going to say it doesn't seem like we're going to see the force play, but then I realized Python has fully invested. I believe he gave the scout the Maka, took a Deagle in return, and well, I would say that's a worthwhile sacrifice. Maka has a decent spawn here as well to try and take that connector peak.
Going to go for it. MBK is going to swing across and actually catches the ramp player, Forester. Love to get another look at that. Looks like a drive-by to open things up. Man advantage that the Falcons desperately needed. And Entropiq, for the first time in a while, on the back foot. The bomb's still deep in towards top mid, so there must be a retrieval job for that at some point. The scout of Maka, however, in towards the bench, chipping away. There is a flank in here. Crowd has managed to get into the site, but he's not yet managed to activate. Finally, they grab a couple of quick kills, make it 3 in quick succession. As Entropiq look to turn this round on its head, but they've realized now they've left the bomb. And if that is realized by Hadji, who has a Galil with a minute left on this clock, and I think... Oh, he's missed it. I don't think he's realized that the bomb is actually right at his feet. Anarchez is not being quiet about this recovery, however, and Hadji, unexpected, will get a freebie. That's a rifle. That's now the bomb definitely known. With 45 seconds left, Entropiq have not got a lot of time to recover this situation.
They're going to actually manage to find this fight in on mid here. NBK in a pretty awkward position, not expecting the underpass peak, and well, now it's all about moving through and recovering this bomb. Hadji just has to stand his ground. He has a favourable weapon for the initial fight there at range either way, and the molly forces Mir forward, taking a ton of damage in the meantime. Sure, it's 1 bullet from either of these players right now to get the finish. The Mach 10 has maneuverability, and he just strafes around that corner to take the finish. Easy upgrade back to the AK as well. A second round for Entropiq, but it was not easy. The question is, the Falcons want to keep the pressure on, though. I think it's a bit more worthwhile maybe getting just a few P250s, just focusing on getting the guns out in the next round and hoping that the P250s could get maybe 2 or 3 kills here. No, they're going to go for it.
1 HP left in the server at the end of that round, and like you said, they know how close they came, Falcons, so they're going to give it another go. Another roll of the dice, and with huge amounts of mid presence here. MBK going to be flashed up. It's a rough old swing, but he gets it done. Trades start to come back the way of Entropiq, however. And with 2 in quick succession, this mid control starts to look a little strained. Nickelback continues to make it so. And as Mir finds a quick headshot, it's job done. Forester out of Palace. They tried to brawl it. Falcons wanted that mid control. And Entropiq said, fine, we'll fight you for it. And they won it brilliantly.
Yeah, that's much better. A good recovery to bounce back a small bit, at least from the amount of damage in that round before. Gives them what is basically their bonus round here, with only a Galil and a Mac 10 as well being the real weaknesses. And even then, I mean, the Galil's pretty good. The Mac 10 takes some of the spawns and move in a bit quicker, trying to catch what is, again, a pretty weak buy overall from Falcons, as we know, apart from the one saved M4, which has actually found something from that underpass boost. Fortunately, not being allowed to escape. Actually, will recover the M4, but they have no Kevlar elsewhere to actually really put it to use as well as it could be otherwise, although Mir is in trouble.
2 angles to hold. He's going to get caught in transition between them. Forester again looking to make some noise out of Palace, but this time MBK's P250 is good for it. Oh, the timing on that. Python somehow doesn't finish it. Crad down to 11. Nickelback has really got it all to do here. There is timings all over the shop, as Hadji will be mollied into a corner, but he knows Crad is low HP, and Crad inside of that smoke. I mean, this position feels incredibly untenable. He is going to manage to find one, though, and he pivots for the second. Python will finally put him down, but he's bought Nickelback a lifeline. 50 seconds left, 1v2. Nickelback has got full HP as well. There's no kit anywhere in sight. There might be one dropped in towards mid. There's certainly a ton of rifles, so plenty for the retake. And Falcons are playing it smart. They're playing together. If he comes towards B, he encounters both of them. If not, they will play this retake. Nickelback has to treat every angle as if it's occupied, so slowly works his way out. And he should be able to get this bomb down. Should be able to buy himself an opportunity. He is clearing absolutely everything, though, and at this point, Falcons know there's no possible way he's going anywhere other than the A site, so they will start to swarm into mid. He taps the bomb once, desperate to get the peaks. Nothing given yet, though, and now Python has his AK and has his opportunity spotted. Nickelback knows he's got to isolate these fights, but he's dinked up through the wall. The Mac 10 is charging him down all the while. He knows they're splitting him, and there's nothing he can do about it. Falcons get their first on the board, a little fortuitously, a couple of nice timings, but they'll take everything they can get.
Indeed, solid team effort as well. By with the bomb plant as well, ensures pretty much everything is there for Entropiq, and Arcas would have been struggling a small bit if they didn't get that plant down. I presume he's getting the op dropped as well. Indeed, Mir's going to give it over. So, as we had said, it was the bonus round pretty much for Entropiq there. So, even with losing it, being able to get 3 kills and a bomb plant, keeping the economy incredibly low for Falcons, it does mean they have the chance to bounce right back, which is not something that Falcons can allow to happen with Spiral things desperately out of control here on their CT side. Aka decided to go for the window spawn. The smoke came in a little bit too quick for him to do anything about it, and well, with the quick push coming towards Connector, this might be the right decision. Perhaps, though, he should ensure he doesn't step in front of his teammate, or his teammate doesn't step in front of him, rather. That was awkward.
Oh, that was the most awkward thing I've seen in a while. That would have been almost certainly a kill. It was a gift. It was a freebie. Forester swung right into the crosshairs. Maka trying to make amends here, but Nickelback's got his teammates back as well, and now this boost on short disassembled at the worst possible time. Again, Hadji's aware that they've consistently had this player lurking out of Palace. The utility will confirm the position and force him to hold 2 angles at once. Python has managed to grab a kill, though. The B lurker's gone down. And off the back of that, they've decided that they'll hit A instead. So the CT side have gone full gamble stack. And unfortunately for them, Entropiq are heading into B. So again, this timing becomes everything. Because at the moment, Entropiq are going to get a free site, a 3v4 retake into B on Mirage just doesn't feel viable. And this starts to look really ugly. The utility comes out. The CT side know what's up, but they've got a decision to make now as the site is cleared. Do you really want to give this retake a go? The bomb yet to be planted may well tempt them in, though. And as soon as I say that, I cast a curse hit, and immediately we back out.
Yeah, it's got to be the save. They have the basis of another buy, basically, since misutaaa can drop over. Other than that, though, I mean, it's going to be a little bit awkward. Maybe Maka drops an M4, and I think he might just have enough for the body armor for himself as well. So they'll scrape it together as long as all 3 players do survive here, but this was the situation we said couldn't happen. Entropiq were not to be allowed to return immediately with a 4th round. Just snatching away any sort of momentum from Falcons. Off the back of losing out on that first map as well. Their own map base is not a good place mentally to be here, beginning the map off on the CT side especially as well.
Yeah. CT economy really relies on you stringing rounds together. You have to find consistency. If you don't, if you get those isolated moments, it just falls apart so quickly. And already an isolated round for the Falcons as they find themselves down by 3. Try to come in still. Those saved rifles will form the backbone of it, and it will give the CTs another chance at life. 2,900 loss bonus won't sustain another full buy. This one needs to work for them. And Entropiq, well, they're keeping it very simple. They've lost the early pick. Mir's gone down, so they'll just loop back around towards this A site and look for the straight execute.
Okay. A wall back up towards Maka for the finish. Krad's also on low health here as well, so doesn't really give them much of an advantage for the moment, but they have a ton of time, so they don't really need to go for this full-on commitment. They could just try and probe about, wait for these mistakes to be made, and see if any further picks will be available. The problem is they leave themselves caught up in the corner. I don't even think the flash caught them. They turned around, and instead Python just mows them down. Go back with a small recovery, but he doesn't expect that flank from Haji. The bomb is dropped, and Arquez, they know he's around Palace because of that earlier kill. And with that, he's just going to be trapped in with absolutely no hope of being able to do anything unless massive mistakes are made by Falcon. Not even just mistakes. They would need to do some of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Throw this around the way at this point.
Yeah, it would take a lot for this to go wrong. That flank in, fast aggression from Falcons really did give them an opening. It allowed them to gamble, stack heavily into that A site, gets them a lot of control. And as much as we were talking about Falcons' economy, again, being at breaking point, Entropiq's isn't amazing either. It will sustain another buy, but beyond that, potential for Falcons to start establishing themselves in this map. Annika still being given nothing at all. And well, he's got 2,900. He's got armor as well. So if he saves this AWP, he'll be able to drop an AK-47 across. Nickelback and Forester should be able to do something about a buy. Mir should be able to skim himself, so it would only really be Krad who was struggling. So Anarquez is going to just satisfy himself with saving that, and it should mean that they can get a full buyout into this one.
Yeah, I mean, Mir will have enough to add a flash to his smoke there as well. Get his AK. Everyone else, I think, has their rifles. Yeah, they've already got everything they could ask for. Falcons need to repurchase on a couple players, meaning they won't have much left over either. So economies really are just very fragile in general. This is a pause from Falcons, I believe. That was the production told us.
Good point to take it as well. Just at that moment where things can start to swing. Give yourselves a minute, take a breather, work out how you want to counter it. They've had decent reads, Falcons, fairly consistently as well.
Is there a second up or something on the ground for Python? Or just an M4?
There's got to be something.
So the money's a little bit better than I thought it would be, because I was saying he would have to rebuy. No, he just hadn't bought.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Maybe someone pointed it out. Yo, Python bro, get a weapon.
What's the response from Entropiq here is the question. I mean, almost immediately it's a straight A exec. Not wanting to play any kind of funny business with this one. Decent amount of rotations available, though, for Falcons. The con player MBK can swing into support, as he will do here. A couple more in fast rotate from mid and short. And MBK actually going to try playing ahead of the smokes. The spam down initially fails, and now it's onto Haji. Tucked into Ninja. He's been spotted out, though, and Forester jumping over the top will deal with him once more and gets it. MBK hands himself on the silver platter. The aggression's going to continue, though, this time with Python. A 1-for-1 trade less than ideal, and you have to start wondering if a little too much aggression came through there, as now Maka, well, he's not going to have any contribution to this round whatsoever. The AWP over on B will be saved into the next, and the CTs, well, it's back and forth, right? It's exactly the worst recipe. It's what we were talking about just moments ago, how they're managing these isolated rounds but not finding any consistency with them. Straight A execute lands for Entropiq. It's a 5th round. It's a solid T side to start things off, and it's one that feels like it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, this is more than worrying for Falcons at the moment. We're getting them showing off some nice individual moments at points at the very least, but it's just not really coming together as a team. There wasn't much of a weakness to this buy either. This was pretty much perfect, and they aren't really able to do anything at all. That guy will at least save They will buy, surely, because Maka can drop onto NBK, everyone else can buy for themselves, just about. It means, again, that they're going all in. They'd only get 2,400 loss bonus when this one, if this one doesn't work out, rather, that would mean Entropiq head up 7-2. So it really is start off your CT side right now on this gun round. Otherwise, it's just going to completely spiral out of control. And Entropiq will likely at least have a lead at the halftime, if not even more. Very quick smoke down. That's stopping them from really ever being able to peek window as well, because that goes down within the first couple seconds of pretty much every round.
It's that nasty spawn line up, and oh, that's disgusting from Crad. 2 quick kills. MBK trying to wrestle back some kind of control as we're caught mid-sentence. Crad, though, continues to progress. misutaaa will put him down, and now with the bomb going down, this gets awkward. Nickelback's alone inside of this site. There's a flank, but it's a long way away, and Nickelback's having to play very aggressively as a result. He's got to try and stay alive. He's got to buy time. He will. Big kill onto misutaaa. Can't find Python, but there's no way he expects Mir all the way through mid to finish the job. Despite 2 entries from Crad, it goes down to the last man again. The problem for Falcons is Entropiq will not care. They can afford for it to go down to the last man. They've got money in the bank. They're building their cash. Falcons, it's a very different picture.
Yeah. Bare minimum around 2,000, so they get a few pistols, that's all. 2,900 on top of this means their buy in the next round won't even be perfect, although it should be pretty decent. But as I pointed out, it's 7 for Entropiq 100%. Again, they just take themselves over towards mid, where they're going to be heavily favoured with the weapons being to their advantage, and not expecting a ton from Falcons, but a few nice deagle shots would be helpful, considering they've been quite successful in doing damage at least. So I mean, they always have the chance to potentially break Entropiq down with maybe even just 1 round win at this point. The only problem is if they don't back up the damage here with these pistols once again, then it should stabilize Entropiq for at least a round or 2, pretty much.
Need to see something out of them. Python up close and personal. Flushed back by the molly. Well read and dealt with by Crad. And at this point, in the 3-on-5, shouldn't be too much more that Falcons can really say about it. E-execute seems to be on the cards. The utility goes in, ensure that it's clear. The bomb will get planted. And, well, realistically, at this point, Nickelback probably wants to go for a little bit of a prance about and see if maybe he can find a couple more kills to make that MAC-10 a little more worthwhile. Hunt down a couple more of these pistols, perhaps. Don't really need to be committing the AKs to this kind of hunt. As you said, an opportunity for Entropiq to stabilize their cash, which they'll take with open arms. It has been a scrappy start, but as always, scrappy starts favoring the T side. Just a foot spotted there for Anikez, so MBK knows where to look. Question is, will he be given anything in reward? And well, he's going to start looking for it. Nickelback's still very slow. I thought we'd see a little bit of a faster pace from him. Maka should get his opportunity and does, so that's a rifle recovered now as Nickelback has spotted out some of these players on the A site. The damage is there for him to work with, but I think they're just going to nestle themselves into CT. A good flash over the top will allow them to save the AK. And well, 1 kill, it's one of the rifles at the very least. They save an AK. I think Falcons will take that.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing. You've got to find some positives at this point, really, to roll with, to try and start getting some belief in yourselves back. And, well, hopefully this is going to be the point that they do so, because A7 has got to be the goal. Even if they don't get quite there and they only reach 6 or 7, you've still got to try your best at this point to ideally not drop another round here and give Entropiq that lead heading onto the second half. MAC-10 for Nickelback, that's been interesting. Let's see. Waiting out the molly, going for a very fast charge onto A, and they're not even putting the smokes down initially. They did have a deep connector one, which stops the pushes from coming through, but the MAC-10 can't do anything about the rotations. Maka jumps through and hits the no-scope. Haji's going to be doing a lot from the spawn as well, taking out 2 already, and forcing Entropiq to completely abandon this A push.
Okay, that's better from Falcons. Again, maybe a little bit fortuitously with the MAC-10 running out of ammo and Maka hitting a nasty no-scope out of the top connector smoke, but they get it done. Pretty much need to win everyone from here out to make this CT side sing. That is disgusting from Mir. MBK shoulder peaks just a little too wide and the top of the cranium is removed. Still a 2-on-4 though, and at this point the control should be there. Python tapping away, deals with Anarkez. Missed shot again from Maka, but at this point Mir's position known. He's trapped in. The bomb is in a very awkward spot for him. Tries to feign the noise of dropping out, but Maka is having none of it at all and will pick him off on the cross. So Falcons have their third. Again, the problem is though, the money is there. Entropiq will be reinvesting, and well, the thing that has eluded Falcons so far is desperately needed. It's consistency.
Yeah, to me it was Entropiq that were struggling with consistency the last day I got to cover them, but definitely looking a bit more stable here today. Okay. Is this for them to drop out? I'm not too sure. I'm waiting to see what the hell that was. I'm not sure if it landed exactly as intended. Maybe it's just to make it impossible for info to be found here from top mid, because normally if someone pushes out with that connector smoke to peek towards under, you'd try and spam it, but now there's a second smoke there, so are they just going to be really, really cautious of the fact that someone might be in between them or whatever? I don't know. I think it was a miss smoke. I'm overthinking it. Either way, this Paps aggression might be punished, and well, that was horrible timing.
Find themselves the man advantage, Falcons, but again, they have somewhat abandoned this A site. Realizing that seemingly as soon as I say it, the rotations will start to scramble. And this is another good opportunity for Falcons to start converting consistently. The money is at near breaking point. In fact, let's go beyond near. It is at breaking point for Entropiq. If this round goes south, they will be onto the ecos and an opportunity for Falcons to find that much needed consistency. Mir will form the third arm of this hit, working his way out of middle, but with 3 CT players on nasty crossfires inside of the site and just 40 seconds left. It's going to be a rough old take for Entropiq. They haven't got much utility either. The soul smoke goes over, flashes over top. The molly, though, is good. Forester tapped out inside a Palace. MBK turns to deal with the mid flank. It's falling apart. Nickelback gets one while blind, but it leaves Anarkez in a 1v4, picks off one, and immediately decides that that's just about all he's going to be getting out of this round. So Falcons will have their fourth. They will break the back of Entropiq's finances, and they will have an opportunity to assert themselves on the CT side of Mirage.
Yeah, hopefully without dropping another player here, or it ends. Not hunting me, so it's definitely not going to happen. We're on a little bit of a look-see, but Anarkez isn't going for anything himself. He knows that op is a lot more valuable right now. With 150 left in the bank. His teammates, I mean, they're a little bit better off, but not enough to get any sort of an investment really around the op. You won't even really see the pistols. You've got a couple flashes for Nickelback. So it really is Anarkez that's pretty much solo in this round to try and see if he can pull through a few frags at the very least. As we said, I mean, 7 is already a pretty good T-side here, but still, if you're Entropiq, you want more because you feel like you probably deserve more after such a fantastic start. But Falcons over these last few rounds definitely starting to turn things around.
Yeah, they'll certainly feel like if they don't find a couple more to convert into, that it's wasted opportunity. Multiple bodies queuing up towards B. The pick is legged. Python down to 14, but he survives. Finds the kill as well. Of course, the ult will be recovered. The damage unconfirmed, most likely, unless Anarkez has really got a feeling that he definitely did hit it. The problem for Entropiq at this point is that was the plan. Queue up, get the pick, swarm onto B. Now that's gone south. What's the backup here with three P250s? A couple of flashes, a solo smoke by Crad. They're going to try and work their way into some kind of mid control as Mir is run boosted across. It baits Crad out nicely for one. Forester from Underpass does grab a second in the trade. They managed to level it out, but Crad can't quite hit the quick scope. Forester and Mir left with 40 seconds left on the clock, and Forester has lurked his way through this smoke. I don't think Haji's going to be expecting it, but he turns through the murder hole. The damage is huge. Haji on 9, Python on 14, but Mir on the AWP. He will switch it out for the P250. 25 seconds to find this 1v3, but Maka is locking in. Missed shot. Mir falls back, looks to reset. 20 seconds on the clock, though, and with that bomb again, so far away from home. Another missed shot, and he has to think about backing away. He'll think about saving. The AWP will be nestled. It's good damage. They should have had more, but it will be a 5th for the Falcons.
Yeah, some awkward fights in there, but as you said, Haji and Python getting a bit fortunate just about surviving. Slightly better performance from Haji so far as well, worth noting, because he ended that previous map, I think, on 9 kills and like 22 deaths. He had had a really tough time. So it is nice to see that he's definitely coming through and having a bit more impact here in the early stages. We have a timeout from Entropiq now, understandably. Coming onto a bye again, being in a position where if they lose this, it might give Falcons a chance to even tie the scoreline at 7-7 and potentially still win out the half themselves. So may as well use your pauses now, find out exactly what the plan is for this bye, which could be slightly better, but should have at least the basics for them to try and get this done.
It's got the bare bones, hasn't it? Certainly some gaps, but still plenty. Question is, what do they look to do? They've really just stalled in the last couple of rounds. Falcons have had answers to everything. Solid buy for the CT side as well. Plenty of utility, money behind it. No longer in that position of economic jeopardy they found themselves in just a few rounds ago. Fast play seems to be the call here, and Mir's caught the timing beautifully. Python goes down. Now the B site looks vulnerable. misutaaa knows he's got a lot to do here. A little bit of utility dropped. Trying to buy time for the rotations, who have managed to slip the net, actually. 3 players inside of that B site now, and interestingly, Entropiq have read it as well. They've heard the footsteps. They leave Crad just to bait, to buy time, to keep them busy, to keep bodies warm inside of this site. He'll go down. He's not the issue here. Instead, it's this pinch into the A site. Haji, Underdark with it all to do here. They're meticulously clearing their corners. It should be a gift, but Haji, out of nowhere, gets it done, and now he's got support. MBK trying to buy time, keep the crosshairs away. Haji has another, and Anak's yet to find any kind of a trade. Down to 22, MBK continues to find damage, and Entropiq, it is falling apart at the seams here. This was a 5v4. They had full control. They maybe overthought it slightly. And it's left Mir in a surely impossible 1v4. Taps away at 1, but... well, actually gets a chance to tap away at 2. Maka quickly puts that down. Falcons have a 6th. And, well, the wheels are really coming off for Entropiq.
Yeah, this has been a drastic change. I don't know how the hell Haji's able to get away with that. The Galil, I think, put him down on 1, right? And then he's just able to sit in under. The player jumped up on default, obviously thought he had covered himself off using the box, but didn't expect such a wide peek from Haji on top of those bricks, which just gave him a bit of vision of the shoulder, giving him a 2nd kill. Then wallbanged the 3rd player coming out ramp down to like 20 health, so his teammate had an easy finish. He just done so much from a damn near impossible position right there, so that was impressive. And it has given Falcons the chance to still lead this half, potentially, going into the half-time. So, let's see. Yep. I'm not counting out Tech 9s, though. These are always dangerous.
Given how this started, a lead at the half would be huge. There is a timing. There's plenty of them. Nickelback gets 1. Now Maka in trouble. Lands a good shot. Haji has found another in the meanwhile. And has just about managed to stabilize things here. The flank into CT, not necessarily expected, though. So Nickelback will find more purchase. M4 recovered well. Python, meanwhile, however, does pick away the flank. And Entropiq are just looking a little at C here. Nickelback has worked his way into CT, but with just 6 HP, he's not really got a lot of room to breathe. As he works his way onto the site itself, MBK is waiting. Clean headshot, however, makes it rougher. And Maka misses another. That'll be the bomb going down. Nickelback with the rifle wisely backs himself into a new position. Looks to play the afterplant. Anakez at least recovers himself a tech, but is tagged up by the AWP, and he knows he's only really got one job to do here, and that's to buy time. Python with the HE won't quite land it, and that will give them precious more seconds for the low HP Nickelback to work his way into this flank. He's got one, not like this. Python taps away at 1 more, and he's just going to have to stick this. He knows the timing is everything. Nickelback charging for all he's worth, tapping the tech, but he's out of ammo, and Python through the smoke will get it done. The defuse comes through, and it's level at 7.
So damn close for what they had into that as well. Pistols across the board. It comes to a 1v1, and it comes to a single bullet that needed to be connected as he runs out. Going to be kicking himself, but it does give Entropiq potentially an opportunity now to still come out with an 8. They got a bomb plant, they got some kills at least. They've ensured their own buy here mostly is going to be as solid as possible. Obviously, no real damage was done to Falcons. They had plenty to come back in, even with a double-op setup here. As the boost comes in from Python, a missed shot. They're just moving so quickly. This is a massive change in pace, and it has caught Falcons off guard, but not enough to leave them bewildered at all. Python stands his ground, and Arquez with an eventual trade, sure, but he's just caught up in the apartments as all of his teammates continue to fall.
How have Falcons done this? 7-2 down? And I am right in saying that they've rounded it back to an 8-7 if they can deal with Mir. A monumental turnaround. And for Entropiq, some major questions to be asked. If this one goes against them, they'll be staying up late tonight wondering what on earth happened to that T-side on Mirage. Mir is currently working a incredibly audacious flank. Will eventually be spotted. Haji has started to work his way into the kitchen. I don't think there's any way he's getting into this B site with 4 players there for the Falcons. 7-2, 6 rounds on the trot. That much needed consistency from Falcons finally starting to come their way. A 1v3 now for Mir. Nothing doing as we head to the break. Falcons, they find themselves with the lead. A scoreline that we didn't see coming. Falcons with 6 rounds on the trot to take the lead as they head into the halftime. 8-7 as they start their offensive. And Entropiq on a back foot that they really shouldn't be on.
No, not at all. They were looking fantastic to kick off the half, going up 5-1 at one point and managing to keep it pretty competitive even for the few rounds following, but it just spiraled out of control as things went on. And now if this pistol round goes the way of Falcons, they are going to be pretty clearly in the driver's seat, I've got to say. It's going to be a fast B play though. A little bit of presence shown, but it hasn't pulled any rotations as of yet. Forester wasn't even going for the jump peak either, so no real info was found. It's only now as the push comes through that they have the opportunity to try and take some picks, and Mirage just not landing.
Not landing anything at all. Bomb will go down. 4v5. No kit either, so this retake has got to move. Without a single pick to work with, this starts to look ugly. Crowd at least has managed to find something close towards the kitchen, and they will start to swarm in off the back of it. So many bodies to find, though. Anakez with one. The Dinks responded immediately. Crad and Anakez trying to make something of this. A 1v2 for MBK. The vet, he finds the first dink, but nothing more. Nickelback lightning fast to find it. Entropiq bail themselves out of dodge. That initial series, those missed shots from Mir, Forester going down, it felt like it was destined to fail. But Nickelback and Crad get it over the line. They level things out at 8 apiece, and they start their CT side as they desperately needed to, with success.
Tied up. It was a round that eluded them for so long there on the previous half. Why isn't too bad though for Falcons, considering they didn't manage to get much out of it. They have a couple of Galils even in play, or 3 Galils rather, that they worked through. 1 AK that was dropped over, I believe. Or Kevlar, I thought they would be able to work with too. It's just honestly a pretty surprising buy. I think the sheer number of rifles is likely to catch Entropiq maybe a little bit off guard here. Going pretty aggressive themselves as well around middle. Unfortunately, there's only 2 smokes, I believe. If they had the full set of smokes, they could have used those to cut off those mid players from rotating back in towards A. Might still do so and push towards CT to take that fight against Crad.
I was about to say, Crad's in a very precarious position here. That 3-man mid hold, it's working, but it's going to leave them again angling for a retake. 2 players to pop out Palace, 3 out the ramp, smokes to isolate the fights. It's a nice set play here from Falcons. They've got the utility to make this stick. They've got the firepower to get in. And here comes the call. Smokes over the top. Crad manages 1. Will be traded, however. And that CT now wide open for the taking. The reaction will start to come in, but Forester only on an MP9 to take that fight at range up against AKs, no less. Has to bail. It's a double flank called from Anakez and Mir, but again, there is no kit on this. So the timing is everything. That bomb is their ultimate enemy. Anakez is going to walk into this flank, dealt with by Maka. There should be a trade immediately. Indeed, there is, but that clock is already halfway gone. They know they have to up the pace, and they have to do it now. The double CT play looks solid. MBK continuing to get purchased from inside of the site, and there's nothing Nickelback can do. The rifles catch Entropiq with their pants down. Falcons have a 9th, and it breaks the CT's bank account.
Yeah, I mean, just completely caught off guard and demolished with the attempted aggression as well. That's got to be demoralizing for Entropiq. Obviously, their force buy is not going to be anything even comparable to what Falcons just had, let alone to their own buy that they were just working with. They're up against much better weaponry overall on that T side as well. They were able to recover some of the rifles to bring through, only 1 Galil being retained, without really having to put too much reinvestment through. So, yeah, we'll see what the Deagles can do, but on paper, Falcons should be heading up towards 10 rounds, and an 11th likely would then come behind it as well, with Entropiq being left on an eco. So this is getting pretty scary for Entropiq. Overpass is beginning to look a bit more likely.
Smells like map 3. Heavy stack over towards the B site for Entropiq. Hoping that they can isolate some fights. Problem is, for now at least, the Falcons are starting to work their way up short, but with mid-control thrown in, and And it's the endless game if you've got to draw them into the stack before you really show yourself. So they'll hold off for now. Now the Molotov starts to come in. Now they'll look to swing. Bomb making its way out. Does open up some timings. Couple of quick kills make this viable. The spray down from Nickelback does even more. It buys them a critical chance in this 1v2. But Maka drags it back with the first. Crad not on a rifle either. Just the Deagle with 45 seconds. All the time in the world for Maka to try and work this situation. Crad remains steadfast on his angle. He knows where the bomb is. He knows what he's got to hold. He'll wait for the swing. It's a missed shot, though, and Maka punishes it. The opportunity squandered again. Entropiq desperately close to the success they crave, but it's just not landing for them. The eco to follow. Falcons will have 11 before they can respond again.
Heartbreaking for Nickelback as well. He does everything he can, and it looked like he might have had the kill there on the end as well on the crossover, getting the tag down to like 30 health. And Maka really wasn't in as comfortable of a position as we thought either, because the bomb was dropped in apps. He didn't really have time to run down and under through the underpass anymore, so he had to win that fight as he did. Good work for Falcons salvaging it in the end, but that becomes a much closer round than I think they would have hoped for. So ideally now, they want to keep all 5 standing if they can in this round, rather, where there's just really not much of an investment at all from Entropiq. You've got a P250, or sorry, 2 P250s, a couple of flashes in the beginning, a smoke and a HE. That's all they've put in. So avoid giving away anything if you can.
Hold on to those rifles, build your bank, as you said. Because last round was expensive, if nothing else. Opposite stack called this time by the CT side, and they're being a little more proactive with it as well. Swinging the angles, MBK will open the account. And at this point, well, a dink onto MBK makes it a little nasty, so a couple of kills have started to come through now for the CT side. Falcons should start to smell a rat, and indeed they do, working their way swiftly over towards this B site. Molotov to follow, and Crad, well, if he had a P250, you'd back him to maybe find a kill here. Anica's caught on the rotation. Nickelback has worked his way into this B site, has got a P250 as well, but he knows he's in no man's land. He's trying to bait for Crad, but it's not landing, and nothing more than that. Couple of kills, it's not a bad look, and it is a little expensive again, but Falcons have a lead of 3, and Entropiq need to respond now.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that for a while, though, haven't we? They were stuck on 7 for as long as I can remember. Had a decent start to the half, taking the pistol, and Falcons just returned again, just taking away that slight sliver of hope that they had given them. This is last chance, pretty much, for Entropiq. Let's see what the plan is exactly. They don't have an op, unfortunately. It is all rifled. No kit to work with. Somewhat limited utility again. It's not quite perfect, and the attempt to peek in towards ramp there for some early info doesn't go too well. No deaths or anything. Small bit of damage done with the Crad, and he's just forced back away. It's the late mid control again looks to be the goal for Falcons. They like waiting it out. They're putting down the bit of presence kind of in the beginning, usually with a small bit of utility, but they haven't been moving in for the actual control in the early stages, as we had seen from Entropiq. They were a bit more heavily focused on this area of the map.
Good damage at the very least off the HE, unconfirmed onto Hadji. And a little more of a proactive stance into the A site as well. Crad, with Anikez in support, now tucked under dark. That's a nice timing on the smoke as well. Locks them out of this, and Crad will play close to it. It's going to be a game of timings again, however, with 50 seconds left on the clock. As that smoke starts to fade, multiple bodies behind it. Crad has to pick his spot and play it. The execute starts to be called. The A site once again the target. Crad tucks himself into Sandwich, looks to play close to Anikez. MBK reads the short play, Mir down. And now the A site under siege. So many angles to hold. It's a rough old spray for Anikez, but he gets one. He's lost all support, has to bail back, has to buy time. Nickelback behind triple is waiting for that bomb to go down, but misutaaa is having nothing of it. Forester left 1v3. He's got the first, but now his position is known. And the crossfire is set. Maka towards the ramp. Tries to hold off. Forester has another, and now it's onto Python, the youngster, up against Forester in the 1v1, and he gets it done. The rounds just keep on going the way of Falcons. They cannot miss on this T side of Mirage, and Entropiq cannot do anything to stabilize.
So many rounds that come down to those close situations as well. I mean, I'd almost given up hope in the 3-on-1 initially after misutaaa just pops off and gives them the bomb plant pretty securely, but he claws it all the way back to the 1v1, and it seems like he might have even had the drop on him after catching the angle there, swinging wide. Just can't land the shots. There could be in a couple of those rounds, as we said, the Tech 9 one earlier, where they were unable to stop the defuse from coming in. Just so many little rounds that could make the difference. Okay, that was nasty. Not too easy to land those. Forester's going to be pretty unhappy about that one. Wondering, did I jump too high, or is he just that good?
Python's been flying so far this series. He really has. 24 in this map. 22 in the previous. 13 rounds on the board. This half by going by the wayside. Entropiq, normally a CT leaning team on Mirage. Normally a team that finds so much success on Mirage. And so far, Falcons are putting them to the sword. 5-round cushion. Economy admittedly not well established, but after this round it should start to stabilize. With all the kills going their way. And they're just 3 rounds away from overpass. I almost can't believe I'm saying it with how dominantly Entropiq started this map, but everything Falcons do is touched with gold at the moment, and Entropiq just cannot dig themselves out of it.
It's just shocking, really. It feels almost like the drop-off in that previous half came out of nowhere, and they've just been completely missing since. I want to have a look and see exactly how that game versus Sprout played out. Obviously, it ended 16-14 with Entropiq taking the win. But it was the T side where they had most of their troubles. So the fact that they came through, had 7 early on, you really would be hoping that they'd be able to step it up again here on the CT side, but they just lost track of that momentum. And well, again, having lost the player early on, it's not going to be helping out. Nickelback with a small return will at least take Python out, and well, maybe that's more than a small return considering the impact he's had. But Forester pulled into the open just as the flash goes off.
Awkward timing again, but Entropiq once more a man down. With it all to do. Tiniest of gaps in the smoke, but the timing for Crad is off. Now Haji is watching this gap, and he'll find a freebie. Nickelback gets at least 1. To keep his team in this, but he's got to do so much more than that. MBK swings, the trade is good, and Mir is last up, gets 1. Finds Haji through those boxes and buys himself a 1v1. They've had so many of these go against them. As Mir commits to the longest of flanks. Needs to be careful of the sound cues. Bomb is dropped in the vision of CT. So as he starts to round this corner, he should know. Maka can't be in a position to control it. Maka, meanwhile, is still clearing out middle. And the timing is going to be good. Finally, Entropiq get one go their way. It goes down to the last man. It takes everything they've got, but they do get a round on the board. The problem is, again, their money is far worse than what's going to be coming up against them from Falcons. A full buy to follow this one. Admittedly, after that broke, but can Entropiq find that after? Or will it be an isolated moment of calm in the storm?
Question. And a small little flag there on my feed, weirdly. The only problem is, obviously, the eye is still in play from Falcons. It's not as strong of an economy as I thought it would have been, though, so as you had said, chaining together one more here will actually break them down, suddenly leading Entropiq into a decent position where they're up against an eco, can take an 11th round and start building off the back of it. Heavy Palace presence right now. The MP9 is a decent weapon to have here, I would say, but it's going to need to call in some support there from the up of an Arquez, ideally, to try and take that initial point of contact just as the smoke goes down, though. That's going to be absolutely horrible, rather, as they drop on him, indeed. Not even expecting them to come down the ladder. He had no help from an Arquez, who was trapped behind triple, but he comes away with 2 somehow.
Caught MBK as he was looking for Maka, and that's something. He's bought them a lifeline, but again, the firepower was never great, and Forester swinging in is an awkward fight. Crad gets 1, and they're mopping up now. Finally, Entropiq get it to stick. Another awful timing for Nickelback. As you said, he had the right weapon in the right spot. He dropped his smoke, and then he faded away from it, which just left him vulnerable to the swarm of Falcons players working their way out of Palace. But Anaquez a little fortuitously perhaps, deals with 2 when he should have only had 1. And that buys them just enough time, just enough space to get back in. 10 on the board, Eco to follow, and now Entropiq will start to believe.
Yeah, I would hope the players themselves were believing this whole time, but I would imagine the fans watching along now are getting a bit of that faith back. Last couple rounds definitely starting to stabilize their situation, but still with the pistols being heavily invested into here, a decent amount of utility behind it as well. I've seen less get a lot done in these rounds, so I'm not going to completely count out Falcons, who've been having ridiculous moments all throughout this map, winning situations they never should have had a hope in, as well Forester somehow didn't actually see him initially. Will eventually get the spray down, and it's just easy pickings then as they emerge from the smoke one by one. Grenade might even do some pretty solid further damage, I believe. Not as much as I thought, but either way, ult them off long enough for his teammate to get in and pretty much just clean it up with him. Good round. They're going to keep all 5 alive. The nade even so they don't need a final peek through, even risking the death of 1, as there is now 2 rounds in the difference. That gap closing in once again.
Much needed stability. I think he tried to play the trigger discipline there to line up a clean headshot, and then because he did, Python saw him and then was like, ah, and just panicked and ran backwards. But there we are. Entropiq have bought themselves a lifeline here. They've bought themselves a way back in. Got to keep converting. And that's going to be the problem. Out of mid, charges Hadji, and he deals with Nickelback for free again. The damage, sure, it's good, but they don't need damage. They need kills desperately. Mir knows it. He swings. The trades are just about there. MBK, no health to work with, will go down, but there's a lurk from Python. And 2 on 2, they've lurked out ramp as well with Misutaaa. Crad now knows it, but it's a rough old fight. Python should go down, but he doesn't. Oh, no. Forester whiffs it at the critical moment. He can't get it done, and now it's an off clear, and how have they won that, Dean?
I have no idea. He goes for the awkward spray. I don't know how it took him so long to react to it either. My feed's been a little weird and choppy, so it looked like he was in his view for quite a while on my screen.
He was.
I thought it might have just froze with him standing for a second, because I wasn't sure how he did not manage to get that kill for himself. Creeps through the corner, takes out his teammate, survives, and just baits him in perfectly then into the double peek alongside his own teammate who would come around to peek at the stairs with him. So yeah, a 14th round for Falcons. They did start off with the initial kill on Nickelback, in fairness, but it looked kind of hopeful after we seen that recovery in from Connector and the confirmation of the presence then out ramp as well. Even though he took a dink, I think, in getting that information, it looked perfect because he could have tucked in towards the stairs for a second. His teammate had just confirmed the other players coming up Connector, had done good damage and should have had the kill. So yeah, all around heartbreak, and again around for Entropiq that they probably should have won. There's been a few of those.
I don't think there's any probably about it. It had to be their round. And instead, the lead extends a little further for Falcons. Entropiq requiring perfection from here on out, and perfection has not been something their CT side has been consistently producing. Big question marks now. Dire need of some consistency. Forester through the smoke does open things up. It's a big opening kill as well. That B fake was starting to draw eyes, draw attention, but now Entropiq know they can start to cheat across some rotations. Missed shot from Anarchez will allow them out the ramp, but Nickelback has found another. It starts to look very one-dimensional now. All mid control, all B presence is gone. It's just on this underpass play, and well, Misutaaa, he gets one, but the trades are clean. And Maka is left in the 1v4. Nice flick for the first. Entropiq don't want to give away any more than that. They are utterly invested into this round. All of their pennies, the same as Falcons, are gone. Maka just trying to make noise. He's got all the time in the world to play with here. They do have him pinned in from every angle imaginable. Nickelback playing the headshot, knowing that AWP at range has a lot of advantages against him. Still time, though. Still room for Maka to work.
Waiting a little while here while he saves that weapon over, most likely, I would imagine at this point. Actually peeking through a little bit, so we might end up finding this fight against Nickelback. If he had gotten it quick, maybe he would have been tempted to give things a go, but that's going to be happening. 12th round, though, for Entropiq, and they need to make sure this comeback is pulled off, and we've seen them do something similar to last day against Sprout. It was a comeback that they had to make happen here on Mirage after being down 14-5. So a much more impressive one as well that they were able to achieve. They ended up winning that 16-14 and done something kind of similar on the third map, if I recall correctly. Or I think may have actually done the opposite then on the third map, where they had a nice lead and nearly let it slip away before finishing. But either way, another timeout, I believe, to be had for Falcons.
Yep.
There we go. Psychic.
Just trying to work out what to do. Should be a 13th for Entropiq. I say should because they've been giving these ones away. No real money to work with. Misutaaa has bought. Invested heavily into this one. I don't know what their loss bonus is sitting at these days. So imagine pretty high. 3 CT rounds on the trot. Make it 4 even. 2,400. So that is a little bit of an overinvestment from Misutaaa, but hoping perhaps that hero AK takes a few rifles away, softens them up for the full buy to follow. Certainly has been possible, has been the case in previous rounds. Entropiq looking to tighten the lead. Get through this one cleanly, just one round in it. That's not something they've been able to say for a long old time here. They are leaving Krad solo though. Over towards this A site, and with the AK in the hands of Misutaaa, that feels dangerous.
Oh, what's up with the sauna?
I like the call. I like the idea behind this. The problem is, yeah, it leaves Krad desperately isolated. Admittedly only up against the pistol, so they can be a little more fast and loose with it.
Seem to care for the fight. Happy to just play strict info there from the spawn, pretty much. Knowing that the buy there against is probably pretty weak, but he doesn't realize how good of an idea it is to stay back. He's against a shotgun that literally wouldn't touch him at that distance. In one case, for Haji anyway, he's just chilling in the apartments right now, actually. Just really hoping, I guess, that initial presence they gave out ramp would somehow pull someone deep into apartments, but it's just not happening. It really is the only way he would have gotten anything with his weapon.
It's a vibe. I like the way that they're bleeding the utility, though, at the very least. They show that initial presence up the ramp. It bleeds all their nades. Near enough, everything goes. And now the secondary execute looks to come through. They'll flood out of Palace. Man inside of the site is a little bit in trouble here. The pistols are making this awkward. Mac has grabbed one. And that might be room for a bomb plant now on the rifle as well. Anakez another missed shot. He'll have to back away. Fortunately, Nickelback is there to start stabilizing things. But again, MBK getting more. That's another rifle. The P250 of Python finds them the man advantage. How is that even a phrase I'm saying? There's 2 rifles. The bomb will go down, or will it? They deny the plant, and now with no time left, surely they have to stick this now through the wall bang. They're not finding it, and it's Anakez 1v2. He's got the first. He knows where Haji is, but he thinks he's lower than perhaps he may be. He's going to switch to the USP, and he nails it. A desperately needed round. It was 1 rifle, 1 shotgun, and they nearly get it done, Falcons. It goes down to the last man. But Entropiq, they squeeze it over the line.
Both of these teams that have had just so many of these 1 versus 1 rounds. And not even when they're on the full investments. I mean, we've seen Entropiq a few times falling short on winning the eco rounds themselves with only a player or 2 standing. Now they're on the other end of it, and I'm sure it's keeping them on the edge of their seat for sure, considering the score that they're currently at, and it keeps the economy just broken. If Falcons win this round, they pretty much confirm victory in the map already, so there's no room for any mistakes at all to be made for Entropiq. The same to be said for Falcons, in fairness. They'd be left playing for an overtime, most likely, if they were to lose this one. To come from that mid booster that they were attempting towards Connector, so ball back out, they'll look to likely split things into a fairly standard default, it's looking like, although, as I say that, wondering exactly what the goal is. Yeah, moving through under, so this is going to be a deep jungle smoke, I think, for the A split to come in, and we haven't really seen this approach yet.
Anakez is hung out on short here. He's holding the whole of mid by himself, and he's very aggressive with it. This should be a freebie, should be a gift. If they clear him, it's done. But he turns. He's aware. He hits the shot. MBK goes down. Information gathered as well. His teammates now swarming up short to provide support. Anarchist won't expect Haji, however, so he goes down. And now Python with an opportunity finds Mir on the rotation. This A site again is falling apart at the seams. It's up to Nickelback to hold it all down. He lines them up, but he can't knock them over. And Forester asked what is surely impossible, a 1v3 to try and attempt here. He dinks up the AWP, but the spray down connects. He finds good damage, but he's on just 8 HP. How can he even conceive of finding this one? He knows Macca's on the AWP. He's trying everything he can. He sets himself, he gets another, but he's got no info on Python. 48 HP, up against 8. It would have to be an insta-dink from Forester. He baits him, but he's not going to fall for it. 15 for the Falcons. The economy breaks for Entropiq. An overpass is just a whimper away.
All the way down to again a 1v1 from the 1 versus 3. Even when a round looks like it should be more of a given, it somehow manages to be brought back into a close situation. Only one player surviving, in fairness, being Python. The economy isn't quite perfect, so there'll be a couple smaller weaknesses in Falcons by. We know Entropiq are pretty much screwed. They're salvaging together some FAMASs and MP9s and such, so not in a good position themselves by any means, but you've got to look for really any silver lining at this point to try and help Entropiq fight back into that overtime. 2 rounds in a row on the CT side, if they get the first of which, they're up against very little in the second. It's achievable. It's going to be very tough, and that's why that pause was necessary.
They've got nothing in this round. Nothing. Deagles, MP9s, FAMAS. Up against a very solid buy. I know there's small sacrifices, but it's nothing major. We said to Entropiq, those T-side rounds that slipped away, they may come back to rue missed opportunities, and it certainly feels that way right now. Aggression from Mir into underpass. It's red. It's dispatched by Haji. That's one of the biggest guns they had. Lost in the opening seconds. Falcons, knowing that that economy is desolate, that Entropiq need a miracle, they just sit back. They wait for the aggression. And they punish it the instant it comes out. Haji flashed off the angle, but not spotted. As now they look to re-aggress up mid. MBK is here. He's got support in place. These shots have to be crispy, and they're not. It's a brawl. The damage is huge, and there's a flank out of the underpass as well, which won't work. Crad manages to rescue something. The man advantage is there. Nickelback on 20 HP has somehow lost all his guns. He's only got a USP right now. And misutaaa has started to work his way out onto A. Anarchist and Crad, they know there's a gap, but they don't really have the utility to do anything, and a couple of missed shots. misutaaa, he's low, but not low enough. He gets Crad. Anarchist trades. And now there's damage all over the shop. Forester, the only player with full health left. Anarchist on 6 as he tries to buy time in this. Forester will rotate into CT. If they can deal with Anarchist, the site looks very winnable. Macca hits it. The flank, they should wait, but they don't really know if they have time. 20 seconds left. They put this bomb down. Forester doesn't look the swing. Nickelback, red, but a missed shot. Macca is low, but it's all on Nickelback. 1v2. He knows where they both are. The flash is good, however, and Python puts him down. It will take 3. Entropiq, they had their chances. They had their moments, and they let them slip by. And is that going to be what puts the final nail in their coffin?
I mean, I don't want to say for sure, because again, Overpass is a map that looks like it on paper does favor Entropiq a small bit, but that doesn't say that it's not one that Falcons can play. On paper, it looks better for them than Mirage did. So yeah, it's a worrying position to be in, because it was a strong